You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, John Ellingson, Hauser and Brown. He's an attorney, but we won't hold that against him. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Ron. Nice to be here.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. I don't know about this celebration day, though, because I have beaten anorexia, and I look at the celebration. National Higher Education Day, National Drive-In Movie Day, that's obsolete, National Gardening Exercise Day, I don't even think about exercise, and then I look at the top day is National Applesauce Cake Day. Ugh. Okay, well, we'll move right along. We have to celebrate something, so I guess I'll have to figure that one out. Checking out the markets this morning, we are looking at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. That is down ever so slightly at 14.28 right now, so we're down a little bit on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. We're looking at oil up 30 cents a barrel. We'll talk about that in a minute. And the U.S. 10-year Treasury down at 2.14. The 10-year Treasury, 2.14. I have told you that's going down to about 1.90. That will be my prediction. So we'll talk about that. Why is it going down to 1.90? What does it mean to you? Well, if you're a senior citizen, you're probably not too excited about it. If you are looking for a new home, well, that's good news for you. Or if you're looking at the debt consolidation loan, any of those opportunities. Gas prices, though, being driven a lot by what's going on overseas. Now, you will not hear this in the lame street media. They're not going to tell you this. MSNBC Hee-Haw won't tell you why we're seeing oil prices doing what they're doing. It has to do with President Trump's trip to the Middle East last week. Did you notice? Do you think? I know the conspiracy theorists, the haters, they're going to tell you that this is just a coincidence that they've cut off, or so many countries have cut off relations to Qatar. Do you really believe in coincidences like that? I don't know. Come on, guys.
Can't handle the truth.
Yeah, my guys are a little slow there this morning on the uptick, but think about this. I think that maybe it has to do with the fact that a week ago or so, the president was in the Middle East. He was talking to the coalition of the Arab countries. You think they have a little more sense of security that the United States might act to support them at this point in time? Just a thought right there. But we are seeing right now, national average tank of gas or gallon of gasoline, 2.369. That is the price of a national gallon. Here in Taxifornia, we're at 3.084. Think about that concept. We are paying more in Taxifornia for gasoline than they pay in the oil-producing state of Hawaii. Think about that concept. But, you know something, let's keep on voting for the people that want to tax us more and tell us what a great job they're doing for us. It's amazing. Speaking of amazing, Did you follow this? Finally, it's about time, and I'm thrilled to report. I don't usually wish ill on anybody, but it is nice to see that. I love this name. Really, a reality winner. Reality Lee Winner, 25-year-old Bernie Sanders supporter. Now, you got to wonder about our own intelligence. No, I mean the government intelligence, not the voters. But think about this. We get this individual, this Reality Lee Winner, 25-year-old, worked at an NSA facility in Georgia, arrested over the weekend for printing. This is real high tech. She prints out a top secret document and then puts it in the U.S. mail and sends it to a news station. Think about that whole concept. Printing it out, that's about as low tech as you get. Putting it in U.S. mail, that's pretty low tech. Sending it to The Intercept, who then publishes this top secret document about Russia's involvement in attempting to get into some of our voting machines. Now, is anybody surprised that Russia tries to do these things? I can't imagine. I guess my sound guys are a little slow this morning, but I can't imagine anybody really being surprised by this. See, Russia does this all the time. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but so does the United States. See, maybe we don't try and hack into other people's voting machines, but the President of the United States, President Obama, did send significant amounts of U.S. dollars through the State Department trying to influence the election in Israel. Do you think that was the only time that was ever done? Now, here's the issue that really bothers me in this whole story. You see, I can't understand somebody trying to hack, and somebody that is a government contractor signed and sworn to uphold the law going and doing what she did. But here's the issue. She talks about all this stuff on her social media pages, yet our government doesn't know enough to go and look once again to social media of some of these different institutions. We spend billions and billions of dollars on equipment and technology and cyber warfare, yet something that's pretty simple, you get all these people working for the government. How many people have top secret access to documents that we cannot even go and look at their Facebook page or their Twitter accounts, Snapchat accounts, and monitor them to see what they're doing, what they're up to, and what they're bragging about? It just baffles me. Now, at least at the ultra-conservative high-tech school,
surprise, surprise,
I knew those guys would wake up eventually. But at the high-tech school of Harvard University, better known as Harvard University, have you noticed what they're doing? They are monitoring people's chat groups, their memes, their private Facebook pages. They monitor that. And just recently, they withdrew offers of acceptance to 10 individuals who are posting what they term offensive memes in a private group chat. Now, when you talk about some of these schools nowadays, what they might have determined was offensive was somebody saying, I'm in favor of a successful presidency. That might have been what they identified as being offensive. This is Harvard, right? At least they did that great study, or came out with the study telling us that all of our media, MSNBC, Hee-Haw, CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, every one of them are anti-Trump. If you look at the numbers, MSNBC, Hee-Haw, and NBC both, CNN, 93% of their stories are anti-Trump stories, according to Harvard University. That was their study, and they're not going to really be considered a conservative think tank. Just a thought for you. Moving right along. Did you see that the Seattle Seahawks, and I've got to, my guys were working this morning, I would be applauding the Seattle Seahawks because they basically told Colin Kaepernick, the guys are here. They told Colin Kaepernick, take a seat. They really don't want him on their football team this year. He's back to square zero or ground zero to try and find somebody that wants his services, or maybe that will pay him $10 million to sit on his duff. Unbelievable. But I enjoy that. I don't wish ill on anybody, but is there something that's keeping Mr. Kaepernick here in the United States? I'm just curious about that. If it's such a horrible place to be, that he doesn't want to respect our country, doesn't want to respect our flag, why is he staying here? I don't get it. Well, at least now we're seeing some other people are saying, something, maybe you ought to take a hike, buddy. Get out of town. I like that idea. And I'm glad to see that the Seahawks did do that indeed. So we're going to follow that one as well. It would not bother me at all if he was unemployed this year. Let's see where else he can go and sit on his duff, play subpar or perform subpar, and make $10 million a year. Let's see where that happens. Who's going to do that for him? Moving right along. CFPB is in the news as well, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I've been one that's been saying since the very first day, and I'm not a lawyer, I'm just a guy that does a little radio, a simple guy. CFPB, I've been saying right along that it is an unconstitutional organization. What other institution in the United States can be judge, jury, and executioner with no oversight? Well, that is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And, they went and fined PHH Corporation $100 million. That's been put on the back burner now. The D.C. Now, if you can get the D.C. Circuit of Appeals to go against a Democrat policy, that's saying something. Well, we're going to see what happens with this whole CFPB case. Hopefully, and I know that there's some conversation in Congress right now to try and abolish the entire Dodd-Frank Act. I would be one that would be very thankful for that. I see the detriment it has had on our country, but we will talk about that more in the weeks and days to come. We've got a lot to cover today, so we're going to get on with it. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, divorce. Does it have to be such a big fight? We'll talk about that with John Ellingson today. If your home hasn't sold yet, maybe there's a reason for it. We're going to chat about that as well. What is a VantageScore? Some of you might know that I call it a FACO score, but we'll talk about that. And a right of rescission. All that is on our plate today. You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
What if your family business could help clothe a less fortunate family? Or your restaurant could feed truly hungry people? What if you could help to comfort the lonely? Plant sustainable resources where nothing has ever grown before? Or make a child's lifelong wish come true? What if all you had to do was simply do nothing more than what your business already does every day? Would you do it? Introducing Processing for a Cause, a unique program that turns a percentage of your business's credit card volume into ongoing donation dollars for nonprofit organizations and foundations. Simply switch your credit card processing provider to Processing for a Cause and begin supporting a worthy cause today. The process is simple. A cause will change lives forever. Processing for a Cause.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037 and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission. Lending partners will give a credit at closing. The title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by AskAboutReverseMortgages.com. Are you over 62 years of age? Do you have some equity in your property? Maybe you want to buy a new home. Maybe you want to manage your taxes, manage your Social Security income, manage when you start taking your retirement income. Maybe you don't even want to make a mortgage payment, but you want a mortgage, or maybe you want to make an excessive mortgage payment. All of those are options with the reverse mortgage. Most people don't understand the product. And what do we do when we don't understand something? We dislike it. That's the reverse mortgage. What is a VantageScore, though, is our topic today. Well, a VantageScore, some people will call it, like me, a FACO score, because the only score that really matters when you're going to buy a house, buy a car, get a credit card, maybe even get a loan for some furniture at a furniture store, is your FICO score. That's the Fair Isaac Corporation. That's the scoring model. Now, we've talked about this. We'll not get into it today, that there are 9 different FICO scores that we really look at. But the VantageScore is something that came into play probably because the main reporting bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, didn't want to pay FICO to give out a FICO score. So they came up with their own scoring system, the VantageScore. When it first came out, they used a scoring range of 501 to 990. That way it could confuse people, because FICO uses a 350 to 550 or 300 to 550. Now they're pretty much in line where they're using the same numbers, but they don't have the same scoring algorithm. So you have to be very, very careful. If you do not see the registered markings that it is a FICO score that you are being given, it does not matter what it says. It is worthless. The only value to the FACO score is to see what the trajectory is of your scoring model, because they try and follow as close to FICO as possible. So if your FACO score or VantageScore is going up when you track it from month to month, your FICO score is probably going up. If your FACO score, VantageScore, is going down, your FICO score is probably going down. So that's the difference between the FACO and the FICO. That is the Your Credit Matters segment. Again, brought to you by AskAboutReverseMortgage.com. This morning we are going to chat a bit about divorce. But there are many types of divorce, and many people don't have any clue that there are many types of divorce. Yeah, I know you're going to dissolve a marriage or a household union. I get it. But do you have to fight with the other one? There was some reason that you got together in the first place. I'm not sure what that is. You know, I'm kind of old, so we're going to talk about that. But John Ellingson is in the house, Hauser and Brown Law Firm. John is an attorney, but we are he is not giving legal advice today. We're just going to have a little chat, and he's going to give you some educational information. If you would like legal advice, That's how he supports his family. So you can call and make an appointment with him, visit him, get legal advice there. We don't do that on radio. Good morning, John.
Well, good morning, Ron. How are you?
I am doing wonderful this morning, being that I don't have any need for your services.
That's right.
At least that I know of.
Nobody wants to call me.
Nobody. You know something? I've heard that before.
Yeah. No. Everybody hates lawyers.
Right.
No one wants a lawsuit.
Right.
Anytime something bad happens, first phone call, lawyer.
You know something you never thought of? I guess you guys are the saviors.
No. Ron, to be honest, we're the parasites on human misery.
Okay.
It's what we do.
Okay, so let's talk. We're going to talk a little divorce. That's your specialty.
Yep.
So, all we ever hear about it, or we watch the news and we watch these big. I don't understand this one issue there's a lot of issues I don't understand. But you see the celebrities, right? They get divorced 3, 4, 5 times, and it seems like it's like a real piece of cake. Yet when I talk to friends and watch others, it seems like it's a real battle. It's an argument that people are trying to literally kill each other.
Part of it is what the public sees, and when celebrities break up, then the media is following them and watching them, and for their purposes, they may be better off. Their publicists may say you're better off if it's not a great big public mudslinging event, and we've certainly seen them. All of the people in your audience can remember some celebrity who went through a nasty breakup, and the media gobbles it up. So I think a lot of them will try to put on a more civilized face. For real people like you and I, divorce is an emotional, legal, and financial process. It's a difficult process. I tell people that come to see me, divorce is the second most stressful process people go through, second only to the death of a member of one's family or close friends.
Really?
Yeah, it is. It has legal issues. That's what lawyers are involved in. It's financial issues and emotional issues. For years and years and years, the tried and true way of getting a divorce was go lawyer up, hire lawyers,
right.
And lawyers are advocates. They are there to assess the facts, apply those facts to the law as they understand it, and get the best possible outcome for their client. Lawyers are not initially trained to worry about what happens to the family during and after the process, because for the litigation attorney, it is primarily a legal issue, and I have a long background at that. I've been in business now. I'm in my 43rd year of practicing law.
That sounds almost like a lifetime.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah.
And for the first roughly half of my practice, I was a general practice lawyer, and I did a fair amount of litigation. I litigated civil contracts cases and divorce cases, and my goal was to get the best I could for my client.
And you'd have to, the way I understand it, and sometimes you have to really, it's like a chess game. Your move is
Yes.
to try and determine the next move to try and get your client that best result.
Ron, that's a very good way to look at it. It is a chess game, and it's an ebb and flow with all the variables that are in it. It doesn't have to be that way. There are different ways. When people come to that point where it's time to get a divorce in the relationship, they have choices as to how they're going to do it. Clearly, the litigation model is a tried and true model. It offers one guarantee that no other model can. It has a guaranteed beginning, middle, and end, because you will go through the judicial system, whether it's at the trial level or the Court of Appeal, and the case will be over. That doesn't mean you're going to like the outcome, but it'll be over. Other options that people have are DIY, do it yourself. Now, you don't go to Lowe's or Home Depot.
Okay.
But there are resources online. There are kits that you can obtain. You can go down to the county courthouse, and most of the courts in California have a self-help center. Orange County does, and they can give you help with filling out forms. They won't represent you. They won't tell you what your settlement is. But people, especially in a case that is more simple on the financial and emotional issues, a young couple who don't have kids and not a lot of sophisticated assets, well, it's more a process. They don't need to hire expensive lawyers and go through a difficult process. They can do it themselves.
So let me ask you a question about that part there, John, because in that process, I mean, even if you do get to the point where there's kids involved, It seems to me, just from watching as an outsider, and thankfully I've been married 30 years, one beautiful woman, and I haven't gone through this, but I've seen it from clients and other people that I talk to on radio. So many issues are clear-cut. I mean, you can go through and have this massive fight, spend thousands and thousands of dollars with attorneys on both sides, and I hear there's like a computer model that basically tells you where you're going to get to at the end of the day.
Okay, so some things are pretty straightforward. For instance, some legal information. California is a community property state. Community property is generally divided in half. So one could say, well, if we agree this is our community property and we're going to divide it in half, why can't we just do that? You can. There are other things. You mentioned a formula. There's a statewide guideline to determine child support where there are minor children. It's an income-driven formula. Anybody can get it online. Virtually every family law attorney has the software to do it. Here's the good news. It's kind of what you just alluded to. It's black and white. It's simple. Put the numbers in, hit the enter key, out comes the result. That's the good news. Here's the hard news. It's an income-driven formula. It has only income, number of kids, and a couple of other items go into that formula. It has nothing to do with needs or expenses. Kids go to public school or private school. Well, that's not in the formula. Do they have a blue water view of the Pacific Ocean from a hill, or are they living out of the back of their car? Well, that's not in the formula. Only income is in the formula. So it's fast and it's easy, but it doesn't deal with the real life circumstances. It's the legislature's best effort to, well, we got to have a formula. So some things are. Other things aren't quite so clear-cut.
And we're going to get to those when we come back.
Okay, well, thank you.
Great information. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Talking divorce this morning with John Ellingson, an attorney at Hauser & Brown. We're going to continue that conversation. We'll also talk about if your house hasn't sold yet. Do you think it might be some issues that are going on that you might have some control over? We'll talk about it. And the right of rescission. I wonder if that applies to divorce, too. We'll talk about that as well. Remember, you can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
In the middle of a street, a house.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage, 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Do you own real estate or have assets over $150,000? Do you know one of your heirs will be the probate courts and the IRS? If you don't have a living trust, you will go through probate. Call Heritage Financial Services toll free at 1-855-434-7400 for a free review. Check us out on Facebook, Heritage Financial Service in Lake Forest, California. That's 1-855-434-7400. Again, 1-855-434-7400.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, maybe it's a debt consolidation loan, maybe it's an asset depletion loan, a hypothecation loan. Gold Star has all the programs you might need. They even follow all the laws, but a right of rescission. What the heck is a right of rescission? Well, it's something that was put into the law 1968, part of the Truth in Lending Act, and it provides many, many protections for borrowers. Some think there may be a little bit too much or maybe overkill, just because they've put into a number of these laws, but they create new laws, but never review them, how they interact with some of the old ones. That's why your mortgage documents now are about 137 pages long when you go to sign for a mortgage. One of the good things about this Truth in Lending Act and the right of rescission is if you are refinancing your property, if it's a primary residence or a second home, not on investment properties, or you're doing a home equity loan, a home equity line of credit, a cash out refi, you're going to get a right of rescission. The beauty of the right of rescission is you can go and sign the documents, and I don't necessarily recommend this, but you could theoretically just sign all the documents with the notary, not read anything at all, and then you've got 3 full days to figure out if you really like what you signed, if you want to accept what you signed. And the way they count 3 days is the first day does not count. Then you get 3 business days thereafter. Sundays and holidays don't count either. So you have until midnight on the 3rd business day to simply sign the right of rescission document. And by law, you're supposed to be given 2 copies of the right of rescission document. You sign it. It's supposed to have the instructions of exactly what to do with it. Sign it, fax it back, send it back, courier pigeon, however it gets there, and your loan process completely stops. And you're not allowed to be charged for anything. So you get your money back. Might have to be paid for your appraisal. But other than that, the entire process stops. That is the right of rescission. That, if you have questions on it, give me a call, 800-306-1990. I can tell you my understanding, but once again, this is a legal option for you. And I don't give you legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. I don't even play one on TV. But we are speaking this morning with a lawyer who's not giving legal advice either. John Ellingson is in the house. We are talking divorce. No right of rescission in a divorce process, is there, John?
No, not even get married, no right of rescission.
Once you've done it, it's done. It's done.
And we were talking about different ways to get a divorce. Right. The litigation model, the do-it-yourself model. In recent years, recent being like the last 20, 30 years, different models have come up. 2 of them with which I'm familiar are mediation and collaborative divorce. You've had other people on your show in the past talk about these.
Absolutely.
Mediation is a model whereby instead of...
So let me ask you, before you get to that, John, let me ask you this question. Because divorce seems like it's very, very simple now. I mean, as far as you don't have to have a whole lot of reason. I mean, if I decide tomorrow that I want to get divorced, I can come into your office and I don't have to make up a bunch of excuses and things as to why I want to get divorced.
Right. California and virtually all states are no-fault divorce states, so you don't have to come in and show a reason why you're getting a divorce. And very often that reason does not come out in the case. Lawyers aren't going to start by saying, why are you here? As a mediator, I don't start by saying, what brought you to me? I don't ask that question for a purpose. If a couple's made the decision to come see me for mediation, I'm not going to start by saying, gee, what went wrong with your marriage and why are you here? That's likely to
open up a can of worms.
Yeah, open up a can of worms.
So wouldn't it make sense then if a couple is exhausted, if they start getting on that negative path, I shouldn't say it's a wrong path, on a negative path, go to some sort of, maybe some sort of counseling, talk to a preacher, clergy, whatever.
Absolutely.
But come to see you sooner than later before they're ready to, strangle each other and really then they can't get along with anything?
People that come see me, there are times when I sense from the conversation that maybe they're not sure if they want to get a divorce. And at some point I may interrupt the conversation to let them know my job as a mediator, when they see me as a mediator, is to get them from point A to point B. And I'll say, sit here long enough, you'll wind up divorced. If you're not sure if that's the path, whether it's for yourselves, your relationship, your children, take a time out. Go see a mental health professional, a therapist, a marriage counselor. See what the issues are. Make sure you know what you're doing. Like you said, write a rescission. Make sure this is the path you want to be on. If they have decided that is where they are, they're going to end that relationship, then try to find the most peaceful and efficient way to do it.
That's the point that I really appreciate about what your practice is the concept of doing it. These people got together for some reason that, I mean, in many instances, a wedding is a pretty exciting time, right? People look forward to those days.
And when couples are struggling in a divorce context, sometimes a mediator will ask the question, okay, well, let's take it down a notch as they're battling over stuff. Instead of battling over, what would be your view of a good outcome in this process? What's your vision of life after divorce? What's your mission statement that you want to accomplish in this process? Is it to fight and bicker and battle and try to get every last ounce of economic value? Or is it to come up with a settlement both of you can live with? And if so, then let's try to focus on that.
So that'll bring you to the two other types, the non-litigated and the non-DIY.
Right, right.
So to explain those other two options.
One is
you mentioned mediation.
One is mediation. Couple comes to see me. We meet in my office confidentially and informally. I do not have any authority to make the decision for them. I'm not acting as a judge. I'm not acting as their lawyers. It would be a conflict of interest if I'm trying to be a lawyer for each one of them. That model is conversations that lead to settlement. Most often when they reach a settlement, the mediator will then prepare the paperwork, including a settlement agreement, prepare the stuff necessary to have it go to the court, and the court approve it. And the couple never sees the courthouse. That's a mediated case.
And the judges like that one better than they like the litigated version.
They like it in the sense that it's one more case that's out of the system and they don't have to expend judicial time and energy to take care of it. And especially with a case where they're able to agree, why force them to go to trial and have a battle when they don't want to have a battle?
Right.
So another model is collaborative divorce, collaborative practice, collaborative divorce. It is similar to mediation in that it is an interest-based model where we're not trying to get every last dime based on legal principles. It's a model where they are going to settle it themselves, but the difference is instead of meeting with just one mediator, a guy like me, they establish a collaborative team made up of 2 lawyers in an advisory capacity to tell them what their legal rights are, a divorce coach, that's a mental health professional. I use this phrase, the coach's job is to help keep my client's head on straight, eyes focused forward, and also to help keep me in a collaborative frame of mind. A neutral financial professional, a CPA, a certified financial planner, somebody to help analyze, gather, and feed back to the team the financial information, maybe value a business. And last, a child specialist, a mental health professional who is the voice of the children. They don't decide where the kids spend Saturdays and Sundays and holidays, but they are there to speak as a voice for the interest of the kids. This team gathers together just like any of your listeners would in a business meeting where there's marketing, finance, research and development, manufacturing. Those interests will gather around the table, like this table, and try to pull the cart together to come up with the best way to get the product developed and out the door. So too does that collaborative team pull the cart together, try to find the best solution. Think of husband and wife as the team captains of this team, and their job is to come up with the best solution for the family. The lawyers then write it up. The couple know their legal rights. They understand the finances because of the financial neutral. The coaches help moderate the temperature in the room and the communication. They come up with a peaceful outcome.
So let me ask this part of it from a consumer advocate and devil's advocate point of view.
Sure.
I don't want to tell, if I'm in that room and I'm there with you as my attorney and my wife has her attorney.
Right.
Do I really want to divulge everything? Because what if this doesn't end up the way we want to and we end up having to litigate? I mean, now her attorney might know, what I'm open to.
Right. Now, I got your question. Do I want to show all my cards?
Right.
Do I want to put everything on the table?
Exactly.
Okay. So, whether you go through the legal model and you lawyer up, or you go through a more peaceful model like mediation or collaborative, the law requires that you make a full disclosure of assets, debts, income, and expenses. No, back in the day when I started practice, the object was a chess game like we talked earlier.
Sure.
You want something, you go find it. Now there's an affirmative obligation for each spouse to make a full disclosure to the other. And if somebody doesn't, if somebody hides something, and later, after the case is settled, the other spouse finds out about that hidden thing, and it's always a good thing that gets hidden.
Sure.
That spouse who's aggrieved by that can set aside the settlement on the grounds of fraud. You have an affirmative obligation to make a full disclosure. So when somebody says, geez, I really don't want to disclose this, the lawyer's going to have a conversation and say, you may not want to, but you have to. You're in the mortgage and real estate business. There are things called loan applications.
Sure.
They're signed under penalty of perjury. I have a feeling if you're working with a client doing a loan and they say, gee, should I really put down that I got sued and I have a big judgment against me, or I owe $50,000 on my credit card? You're nodding your head yes. You're going to tell them, put it down.
Right.
Because it can only come back and bite you if you don't later.
Going to find out about it anyway.
Same deal. Now, if somebody says, here's what I'm willing to do to get what I want in my divorce, but I don't want the other side to know that. I want to hold out on that. Well, that's a good conversation to have, either with your spouse, with your mediator, with your lawyer, because that's kind of like playing poker. Now, you've played poker before, Ron.
Sure.
And there's something good about holding really good cards. But if you hold them too long, they don't do you any good. And if you're just going to try to bluff, and you're bluffing against a full house, maybe you're doing the wrong thing. So, better yet, focus on what are your goals and interests. And it's okay to make a disclosure and say, this is really important to me. Here's why. Maybe your spouse can say, well, gee, if that's important to you, here's something important to me. Well, you can have this if I can have that. Why have a big battle if the conversation could have been more simple?
Yeah, great stuff. Great information. We're going to continue our conversation with John Ellingson when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. We will also chat about your house hasn't sold yet in this market. I wonder why. We'll talk about that as well. You can reach us anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams, simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Isn't it time you found out about FHA-insured home equity conversion? No, it's not your grandfather's reverse mortgage. This just may be the finest financial planning strategy available for all homeowners of retirement age. Helping protect what you've earned is the job of your board of directors with continued education. Major research has shown that using a HECM will significantly enhance the success rate of a retiree's portfolio and legacy. Please allow us to educate. For your complimentary consultation, call Jay Kaplan at 949-300-3855. That's 949-300-3855.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel Team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to rep@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRE NMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. They will also give you the information. Look, they'll text you a message every time a house is sold in your neighborhood. If you're a nosy neighbor like me and want to know what properties are selling for, NEST, text NEST, N-E-S-T, to 79564. You can also find your new home that way. We are talking this morning about if your house hasn't sold yet, what do you do? Well, it's pretty simple. Right now, the way properties are selling, if your house has not sold in this market, you need to give us a call at 800-306-1990. I am not a real estate agent. Yes, I do have a license. I don't use it. The likelihood is, though, you might have priced it properly. You might have been marketing it improperly. And maybe you have the wrong person helping you. Maybe you're trying to do it on your own and definitely have the wrong person helping you in that case. So let's chat about it. Give me a call. We'll talk more about this tomorrow because I want to get back to our conversation with John Ellingson. And I think that I see. Good morning, Robin. Good to see you there. Coach Dan is with us this morning. Glad to see him with us as well. Mindy Mitchell, good to see you. Lynn, good to see you there. So let's continue our conversation with John Ellingson. So we were talking before the break with John. He's an attorney with Hauser & Brown, not giving legal advice today, just educating people on I'll come out and say it because, you know, I just give you my opinion. Is I like if a divorce is required, the process that John is talking about today, to me, is much more logical. We'll talk to John about economics of it in a minute. I think it might be a little more economical and may not be as detrimental to the kids if you've got kids. So we're going to talk more to John about that. But John, one of the things that has concerned me with the process that you're talking about is the idea of, you know, we're all in a room, we're sitting around a conference table, we've got my attorney, or his attorney, her attorney, or whatever the case may be, the counselors, the financial people. You might have a real estate person in the room, right. Coaches you mentioned.
Yeah.
Everybody's got the professionals, in addition to the parties, the professionals all have a financial interest also. I mean, if you get this done collaboratively, tell me about the cost of collaborative versus litigated.
Okay, so word about costs. In the litigated case, the lawyer must prepare the case for trial. To do that, the lawyer must conduct discovery and an investigation to make sure he or she understands the facts of the case. Then prepare for trial, do the research, get the case ready to go. Along the way, because that's an adversarial process, along the way there may be several trips to the courthouse for interim relief. Temporary support orders, temporary custody orders. They're arguing about what to do with the house, and one wants the house sold, so they go into court and ask the judge to put the house up for sale. So along the way, there are these bumps in the road where they end up in court over things that they may be able to settle outside of court. That can run up the cost in a litigated case. The collaborative case, the idea and purpose is to try to put all the information on the table, find out what the parties want to accomplish, what are their goals and interests, and how can this team come up with a solution that meets their needs. Theoretically, if people are working together rather than working apart, they can be more efficient and save money. It's virtually impossible to say, here's how much a litigated case costs, and here's how much a collaborative case costs, because each case is different.
Sure.
And I've had litigated cases when I was doing that work where I would work cooperatively with the other attorney, and we would make a decision to try to help our clients settle the case. Not all lawyers are hired just to end up in court. A lot of lawyers will try to get a settlement done. During the break, you asked me another question about...
But before you go there,
oh yeah,
the number I had heard, and I know that I heard what you say as far as you can't really come up with a number. Last number I had read was something like $95,000 and 5 years for a litigated case.
It can. I've had cases take a long time. Just because of the logjam at the courthouse, there are approximately 1,000 new cases, new divorce cases, filed every month in Orange County Superior Court.
Wow, 1,000 cases.
We have about 15 bench officers to try those cases. That doesn't count the cases that are coming back into court after months or years of litigation. So just do the math. It takes a long time for the court to sort those out.
That's about 80 cases per bench officer per month new. In addition to what they've already got on there.
All the backload that's there.
Holy cow.
And our courts are struggling right now, and one of the things they're looking at is, well, what are they going to do? How are they going to sort all these cases out? One option, or options that are available to families, are, well, don't litigate it. Either do it yourself, hire a mediator, or have a collaborative case to try to settle it yourself. The only timeline then is the timeline of the people involved, not the court's timeline.
So now we were talking before about this concept of you put all these people around the table. It's more economically advantageous to the attorneys to litigate than it is to go collaborative on a case-by-case basis. Maybe a collaborative attorney can handle 10 cases where a litigator might only handle 1. But what is it to stop the attorney from saying, you know, something where we've gone down this road for 3 months, 4 months, I think we should switch over to litigated?
Okay, good question. In the collaborative model, there's an agreement. It is signed by all of the participants. The husband and wife sign it, so do the lawyers and the other people. And one important piece of it is that A, what we say in a collaborative case will remain confidential. If we have a meeting here and you say something about assets or debts, and the case ends up in litigation, no one at the table can go in and say, well, while we were sitting around the table, Ron said this is what he would agree to, or this was where the pot of gold was buried. Number two, the lawyer that takes on a collaborative case in that agreement agrees not to litigate the case. If either lawyer files something adversarial in court, now, if the other lawyer and I agree to something and we write it up and the parties sign it, then it can be filed. But if I go rogue, if I decide this isn't working for my client or it's not moving fast enough, so I'm going to go into court and ask for a trial date, both lawyers are automatically fired off the case. The collaborative agreement says a lawyer cannot represent his or her client after or as part of the collaborative divorce case in an adversarial matter.
So it protects that whole process.
Right.
So everybody up front is saying, hey, this is the only route that we're involved in. If you want to go another route, without us,
go hire somebody else. And it has to be that way, Ron, because otherwise it would work like this. Imagine you're the other attorney and we're in a room and the parties are there and we're helping them negotiate and the conversation is going on and it hits a tough spot. Well, then one of us, you or I, would look at the other and say, well, Ron, looks like we're not going to settle this. I'll see you in court. Well, what would be the point? So the agreement is we're going to lay down our guns and we're going to help these people get through the process.
Sounds like great information and a great way of doing things. Much better than trying to argue and litigate. And I'm going to suggest, I mean, we don't have enough time for John to pipe in on this one, but the judges only have the option of giving the least common denominator. John mentioned it earlier, that they have to do what the legislation says, and it may not even be something that the judge likes, but it's something that fits everybody. A one-size-fits-all. In your case, may not be a one-size-fits-all. So I highly encourage you to talk to our friends in the collaborative world. And the other thing I do is I ask you set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John, who's engineering us today, and of course a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show.